Well, welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. As you know, I'm Big Italy 42 here talking about tonight's action on DraftKings, and it's going to be an interesting one because we've got a couple of top arms here. Clayton Kershaw, Felix Hernandez, David Price. Going to be a tough decision between all these guys. Kershaw, Price, most expensive, $12,400. It's also the biggest favorite at minus 190. 6-run total in that one against the Cardinals team that's just below average against left-handed pitching. Almost 23% strikeout rate. They're 19th in Team WOBA. So a fine matchup for him. But for my money, I'm going to go down to Felix Hernandez, save $900. Coming off that bad start, not buying into that at all. Tonight he gets Tampa Bay offense that is just terrible against right-handed pitching. You look at their numbers on the season, 21% strikeout rate, 299 Team WOBA, 22nd in the league. And Felix went complete game against these guys. Last time he faced them, 2 starts ago, 41.7 points on DraftKings, 9 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, no earned, 8 strikeouts, 101 pitches, very efficient there too. Not saying I'm expecting a complete game shutout, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's going to have his way with this team tonight. So dollar for dollar, he's going to be my top option. I don't mind David Price either. I think he's more of a tournament play for me. But I don't mind using him in cash either. $10,200. The strikeout rate hasn't been where we want it to be this year. Did have that 12 strikeout game against Houston, 9 against the Cardinals. The game before that had 9 against the White Sox earlier this season. Who he's facing today? Went 8 innings there. It was in Detroit, of course, so obviously a much better ballpark. But this is a team that's by far the worst in the league against left-handed pitching. 233 WOBA, 0.072 ISO, 21.4% strikeout rate. So I like him. I think Price considered, I'm not saying I like him better than Kershaw, but I think if the $2,000, $2,200 makes a difference for you in your lineup, then I don't blame you with going with David Price there. Outside of that, Julio Teheran's an okay option at $7,400. Not a guy that I love playing ever, really. And he's had some big-time struggles with the long ball. 1.77 home runs per 9 so far this season. Walk rate a lot higher than you'd like it to be, but I think you do much worse. I'm really not touching Bartolo Colon outside of maybe one tournament at Arizona. He's had some really bad starts, and this is a team that's hitting the ball really well. If I have to have a cheap option, it's going to be Adam Warren against the Angels. Yes, they're starting to hit the ball more, but at just $5,200, you can do a lot pairing him with a guy like Felix Hernandez, David Price, even Clayton Kershaw. So I think if you have to have a cheap option, I think that's your best route to go. An Angels team now 23rd in the league against righties. They were one of the worst in the league. Starting to pick it up a little bit, but I think that if you have to have one of those guys, that's the way I'd be going. Catcher's pretty ugly tonight. I like Brian McCann a lot at home. Yeah, at short porch in Yankee Stadium against Garrett Richards. He's $3,700. Wellington Castillo, if he's in the lineup, $2,400. Going to be my favorite punt tonight. If for some reason Yasmani Grandal is catching Clayton Kershaw, which I'm not expecting, I'm expecting to be A.J. Ellis, then I don't mind playing Grandal either. Outside of that, James McCann against the bad lefty and John Danks, $3,000. I don't mind going that way. That's it for me. I don't like catcher at all today. If I can't get McCann, I'm going to be punting, probably with Castillo, assuming that he's in the lineup. First base here, a lot of options as usual. Lucas Duda is my favorite of this bunch, $4,900, and gets Chase Anderson at Chase Field in Arizona. I know he's got big-time home run upside, hits a lot of line drives, so you got to like that. Some other guys, you got Freddie Freeman, lefty-lefty matchup. No thanks there. Paul Goldschmidt gets Bartolo Colon. You got to like him, but at $5,600, he's really prohibitive. Same thing for Miguel Cabrera, $52. I think I'd probably play him over Goldie if I'm playing cash. Goldie being more of a GPP option, but maybe at $5,200 certainly in play. Jose Abreu gets David Price. Yes, it's David Price, but is a lefty. You got to like him at $4,600 as well. And then, of course, Mark Teixeira at home against any right-handed pitcher, $4,300. Got to consider him. And if you're looking for an off-the-wall type of play, not too off-the-wall, but a lefty-lefty matchup, Adrian Gonzalez. Jaime Garcia has not been great against lefties this year or ever really in his career, so I think that's an interesting option. And Pedro Alvarez, 3.3K, 9 homers on the season, gets fly ball pitcher, home run allower extraordinaire in Julio Teheran today, so I don't mind going that route. Nobody cheaper than that I like. If Garrett Jones is in the lineup, you could certainly consider him for some tournaments at $3,100, but that'll be it for me. Second base, if you're a believer in Ian Kinsler batting that 5 spot, he's not in a bad spot against John Danks, but he hasn't been great this season, really not showing any power. I'm not paying the most expensive price tag for him. Certainly not paying $4,100 for Robinson Cano tonight. I don't care who he's facing. Got to show me more before I'm even rostering him at any price tag. Other guys that you're looking for, you want your cheaper options. Steven Drew hit a couple homers. You're obviously not chasing those, but at 2.8K, I think he's a nice filler that I don't mind. Alberto Callaspo, if he's in the lineup at 2.4, will probably be my cash game filler because I'm going to want two of those big arms in my cash games tonight on DraftKings. Going to need to go cheap somewhere. I don't think that's a bad route to go. Third base, of course, you can play Miggy there. Kyle Seager's a nice, interesting tournament option at 43. Yes, Manny Tomas should be batting cleanup again, 4K against Bartolo Colon. Then either one of the third base eligible hitters for the Yankees, Alex Rodriguez or Chase Headley, 39 and 37 respectively. I don't really prefer either. I think Alex Rodriguez probably more for tournaments and Chase Headley for cash games, but I think you could be fine either way. Then, as you're looking for cheaper guys, you get a lot of good hitters in really tough spots. Carpenter versus Kershaw, Longoria versus Hernandez. Not touching either one of those guys. Justin Turner's an interesting option if he's in the lineup at 33. Same things for Alex Guerrero at 3K. As far as really cheap guys, Callaspo, I already mentioned, also has third base eligibility. Shortstop, I love Wilmer Flores, and when he's in a good environment, $4,000 is an expensive price tag, but he's a great tournament option tonight. Eric Ibar should be leading off. I'm not touching Johnny Peralta. I do like Andrelton Simmons. Hopefully he'll be batting second against the lefty. $3,500 for him. Gotta like that. If Jose Iglesias finds his way into the two-hole again against a lefty and John Danks, $3,400, I'll certainly be looking his way. Elsewhere, I don't trust many of these hitters at all. Kike Hernandez, if he's in the lineup, I don't really expect he will be, but if for some reason he is, 2.4, he's a nice source of some value for you there in the middle infield. Outfielders, of course, Mike Trout, always in play against anyone. Don't need to tell you that. Nelson Cruz against Alex Colome at 4.8 is interesting. I'm not paying 4.6K for Rajai Davis. Not even in tournaments. I'd much rather go with a guy like AJ Pollock, that same price tag, or even Andrew McCutchen against flyball pitcher Tehran. As always, I love Brett Gardner in cash games, $4,400. Same thing for Cole Calhoun against a righty. And he's obviously your lefty. And you love lefties that have power in Yankee Stadium. Love Cole Calhoun at that price. Interesting swerve would be Jock Peterson, a lefty-lefty matchup against Jaime Garcia. You can look that direction. If you need cheap guys, only a couple guys in play. Johnny Gomes will probably be in the lineup against the lefty and Jeff Locke today at 2.8. Todd Cunningham, if he's in at 2.4. You don't love him, but he's about the only viable, really cheap option that you've got on this slate. I'm looking at some other guys. Already mentioned Alex Guerrero. He also has outfield eligibility. You can look that way. Same thing for Garrett Jones. Anthony Goes, if he's in the lineup at 3,300, I'm not sure that he will be, but you can certainly consider him. And elsewhere, Seth Smith, $3,600 to move down to the 5-hole. I'll get some exposure there. And David Peralta, I really like at 3.8K against Bartolo Colon. Certainly a guy that I'll be looking at for some upside in tournaments. And, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned Neil Walker at $3,300 at second base as well. And his teammate, Gregory Polanco, $3,400. Great floor for him. He steals bases. He's got some power upside. Really like him in cash games quite a bit today. I'll certainly be looking his way. All the Detroit outfielders in play as well. JD Martinez, Yoenis Cespedes, those two power bats. Going to want some exposure there. And I also like the Mets outfield against Chase Anderson. Curtis Granderson, Michael Kadire. Take your pick with those two guys. I think they're both in fine spots as well. And with that, that's going to wrap things up. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and find our great content for tonight's slate and every other slate at dailyfantasycafe.com.